Welcome to Trading Lounge, and today we'll be looking at the ASX 200, Rio and CBA, and maybe one or two of the Asian markets. Now, the Chinese markets and the Hong Kong markets are pushing up quite nicely in terms of strength. The Japanese market is quite weak. So in the Asian region, we have markets that are strong and markets that are weak, and we have the same sort of concept in the rest of the world as well. Starting with, we have strength in the US, we have weakness in the European markets. So there's a bit of a mixed batch of things. Now, the ASX 200 tends to work with the FTSE somewhat, and yesterday we had a look at the FTSE, which is pretty much doing the same thing as the Australian market. So just we'll have a look at the FTSE on an intraday basis at the moment. So we're looking at it like this. We're looking at it pretty much the same as the Australian market, where we've got 5 waves down here, and we were looking at an A and a B and a C, but we think we've changed this to the B wave over here and the C wave here, and moving the count in that direction there makes it more of a corrective pattern, because we'd be looking at this whole structure here as corrective as such here. So we're looking for a move up into this area before we're seeing a move down. In the US markets, we're seeing the Dow Jones do the same as this picture here. We're seeing the DAX doing the same picture here. The Russell 2000 is very strong in the US, and the S&P 500 is halfway between the Dow Jones doing this sort of picture here and the Russell doing its picture. So the S&P 500 may or may not make a new high, where these other markets shouldn't make a new high. The Australian markets are like this, Japanese is like this, the Chinese markets are in a stronger position. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Coming back to the Australian market here, our count that we've always sort of held here is really this whole move down here being an impulse wave as wave 1, and we'd always been looking for an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here. As you know, the top part here became sort of very messy, and you know, until the 5,300 here, the top of what I call group 1, minor group 1, is actually rejected, then, you know, we still need the trend. You know, we don't want to fight the trend, which is to the upside here, even though it's not the sort of cleanest bullish pattern, or it's not the most bearish pattern we've seen, but I've labeled it as an A and a B and a C because the first leg in here has a 3-wave structure. So I'm figuring that the rest of it's got, you know, it's just corrective and pull up into the 50-60% mark here. You know, it's still got support on the 5,300. The move down here, like we just had a look at the FTSE, is an impulse wave, and we can count 5 waves down here. So we're really looking for a little retracement level and then a move down from that point there. So, but at this stage, you know, it hasn't rejected, and like I said, we're looking at this as 5 waves and looking for an ABC pattern here like the FTSE, and then further down from that point there, and that would be in line with what we're looking at across most markets as such. So with that in mind, we'll look at this on the 2-hour chart here from the top here. It'll be a little bit slow to open up as I've got other videos uploading and the internet's a little bit slow today. Okay, so drag this across here. Now, we were looking for 5 waves down here as yesterday, as mentioned. It seems to be sort of completed now, at least, you know, with a bit more sort of confirmation there. So from here, from this wave 1, we'd be looking back for a wave 2 here, and then moving down from that point there. So that's basically what we're looking at. And to be proven otherwise, if we were looking at a bullish pattern, you know, that was going to move higher above here, so to speak, then we would need to see a nice support on group 2 here. And of course, group 2 is 65.72 and 80 in here. So we would need to see support there. So we should see the market move to there anyway, unless it's really weak. And I've drawn this green line across here because if this gets taken out anywhere before this gets up here higher, then you need to be on the short side from that, because that's our reference point now. Okay, and now that the market's traded higher here, we will get another reference point within this space here, so we'll be able to get a closer entry there. But I just thought I'd draw that there because that's the line in the sand, so to speak. Yeah, so over the sessions ahead, we're looking for a corrective rally here, and on the 15-minute chart, just to sort of drill in here a little bit further. Wave 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So yeah, look, not really sure what to sort of say from this point on, but essentially we're looking for a move up. These old highs here will be the resistance here, so we'll see this being sort of hammered there, and then we'll see the length of this A wave will be the length of the B wave here. If it fails at any time and this market, this level becomes the retested resistance, then you need to be looking on the short side. But while we're above the level here and this is all in place, we need to be looking higher up through here. So the sub levels are basically same 10, 20 and 10, 20 and 30 here, then 50, and then group 2 here. So anyway, that's the 61.8% mark, and that's what we're sort of looking at there. And the banks are pretty much in tune with this as well. So if we look at Westpac first, and then don't worry about the count here, we're just going to go on to the 15-minute chart here. And in this scenario here, what we've had over the last few days here in this market, same as CBA, is we've had, and the ASX 200 as well, we've had the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. This may not be finished down the bottom here, but you get the sort of picture here. And this time we'll have this reference point here. So once again, we'll be looking to short this, but we're still looking for a bit of a rally here. And this will be the same for the CBA as well here. Now, I'll come back to this chart here in a moment, because I want to have a look at all the bearish pictures first. So I'm just going to go to the 15-minute chart and have a look at the move down here. So the thing here is that we were first of all hoping to get to the 80 before this pulled off. It didn't actually get there, so a bit of a shame. But basically 1 and 2 and wave 3 and 4 and 5 that may or may not be finished. So I was just basically expecting a move into the 50-60% area here. 75 is the closest largest number. Let's just see how the market opens. So we can look at basically Friday and Monday trying to be a bullish day for here. This is the 50-60% retracement level at $77. So this is likely where it's going to fail from. But let's just see, if it bounces straight up off here, then we know that we can definitely be looking at the 61.8% mark here, But otherwise, if it opens a little bit up here and then trades down here and sort of sinks in here, then it's going to kind of struggle to get up here, But this will create the pattern for the ASX 200, and then we're looking for a move down here. It's possible, coming back to the daily chart here, the reason I put the daily chart here is because it's possible that there is still a bullish move in this market, and this is something that we've held for a little while in terms of up for 1 and back for 2, and then up for 1 and back for 2 to the 61.8% mark, and then a move up from that point there. So that's possible, and I'm not ruling it out, but while we're under the closest largest number here, the 80, we need to really take the trades on the bearish side. But look, until this 75 area here becomes the retested resistance, or we've got a clearer picture of this, then we need to be short-term on the bearish side. So yeah, and the other thing too is is Rio as well. So I'm just using Rio as a general picture of the resource sector. And as you know, we've mentioned before, we were talking about on the weekly chart, we've always had a bearish picture for this market. That's never been the problem. But this move up to the 50 area here, we had it always as a B and a C as a wave 4 here, but we've also tinkled with it as being a bullish picture as well, and the bullish picture would have been okay if the market had stuck closer to the 50 here and eventually found support on it, but it's certainly not the case, and it's certainly breaking down from here. But once again, too, the move down through here, we're looking at it as an impulse wave, and the impulse wave, we normally look down from the low here to the high here and look at the 61.8% mark where it is now, and obviously the support is in this area here too. So if we get 5 waves to the 61.8% area, then we can start to look at a short trade, but not yet. We'll because we'd only get trapped there. So we would need to have a look. If this is 5 waves down here, then we would get an ABC pattern here, and then we'd get further move down here. And because we've got 5 waves down here, then we're going to get 3 here, and we're going to go down. So this is all, and this move down here now is also confirmed that this is technically a corrective pattern here. We kind of figured it anyway, but there you go. So resources, BHP, Rio, these sorts of things are in bearish mode now. And I think we're looking at this. I don't know if it's a 15-minute chart or 2-hour chart. Let's go to the 2-hour chart here. Yeah, this is the one. So this is what we're looking at here now. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I don't think this is actually finished here. I think that this is just 1 and 2 here, and the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th has to play out here. But then we'll be looking for the ABC. Once we've got that into play here, then we can look at it on the short side. So we're definitely seeing it's a very clear picture that the resource sector is bearish in depending on what degree of structure that you're looking at it in, but generally the pattern here is negative for this. So which kind of makes the ASX in a bearish situation as well, doesn't it, to a point? But with the ASX 200, I just also want to point out that if we had a bullish picture, if that was the case, then I've mapped that out on a 3-hour chart here, and it would be like this here. It's unlikely, but I have to look at all the pictures and patterns, and this is what we use the morning report for. So in this case here, we would look at this move up here as a wave 1 here, and then this here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. And I don't think this is the case, because the problem with this is that the C wave down here is actually sharper than wave A here. So I don't think that's the case, and we know that we would only turn bullish if we moved above if we got support around here, the group 2 here of 5372 and 5380. We're expecting a move up there anyway, as you know, so let's just monitor that. But apart from that, we would see it move down from that point there. So as mentioned, if we get 3 waves up here, okay, if we get 3 waves up here, and then this move here gets taken, this low gets taken out here. So first of all, I've warned that if you've got portfolios, it does appear that we got 5 waves here. If we get 3 waves here to the 50-60% sort of area, then that's your second flag. And then a breakthrough here on this low here is a trigger to start protecting any, sort of medium-term share trades that you have in the market. And you want to start, if you've got a share portfolio, you want to be hedging at that point there. All right, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.